It was a cold, gray morning in Jackson, Mississippi, the kind that crept under jackets and settled in your bones. Monica Davis stood behind the counter of a small, old gas station off Highway 49, where she worked 6 days a week. At 39, Monica was a single mother of 2, doing everything she could to hold her life together after her husband, Anthony, passed away in a roofing accident 3 years earlier. Bills piled up every month. Her youngest, Caleb, had asthma, and her daughter, Brianna, needed tutoring to catch up in school. Still, Monica smiled at every customer, warmed coffee for truckers, and never lost the piece of her heart that believed kindness still mattered. That morning, as she stocked gum near the register and hummed an old gospel tune, the bell above the door jingled. In stepped a man that made the store feel suddenly small. He was tall and heavy-set with thick arms covered in tattoos. He wore a leather vest with a large patch on the back that read Hell's Angels MC and a smaller one on the front that said, Big Mike. He walked slowly, with the kind of confidence that made some nervous. Monica had seen her fair share of rough-looking folks, but she didn't scare easy. She met his eyes, offered a warm, calm smile, and said, Good morning. Morning, ma'am, he replied, nodding respectfully. I'm trying to get to Baton Rouge. I'm about $5 short on gas. Monica looked out the window and saw his Harley-Davidson parked beside Pump 2. It had clearly seen long roads and bad weather. The man looked tired, his boots worn, and his eyes had that restless haze of someone trying to outrun more than just distance. Without hesitation, Monica reached into her purse and pulled out a $10 bill. Here, she said, fill it up. Roads hard enough without worrying about gas. Big Mike blinked, surprised. You don't even know me. Monica chuckled. I don't have to. Been in tight spots myself. Sometimes you just need someone to give a little grace. He looked down at the bill, then back at her. You sure? Positive, she said. Pay it forward. Mike nodded slowly, touched in a way he didn't quite show. Thank you. Monica, was it? Monica Davis. He extended his hand. Mike Grady. I'll remember this. He filled his tank, gave her a grateful wave, and rode off with a deep rumble echoing in the early morning silence. Monica smiled and went back to cleaning the counters, not thinking much about it again. Helping people was just how she was raised. The next morning, just as she stepped outside to unlock the store before opening, she heard it, first a low grumble, then louder, a thunderous chorus of engines. She turned to look and froze. Dozens of motorcycles, maybe 50, were coming down the road like a wave, riding in tight formation. They didn't look like they were passing through. They were headed straight for her. They stopped not at the station, but in front of Monica's small house across the street. Big Mike got off his bike first, walking up the driveway like he'd been there before. Monica stepped out onto the porch, confused, her children peeking from behind the curtains. Mike? She asked. What's going on? He smiled. Told you I'd remember. You gave without knowing what I had to offer. I wanted to return the favor. And I didn't come alone. One by one, the bikers removed their helmets. These weren't the outlaws people feared. They were older men, women, veterans, working folks, some rough around the edges, but all carrying something, bags of groceries, toolboxes, boxes of clothes, even wrapped gifts. Mike motioned toward the group. You showed kindness. You saw a human being when others might have seen trouble. And we don't forget that. Before Monica could respond, a man named Rick stepped forward. We're plumbers, electricians, mechanics. We heard your roof leaks and your heat don't work right. Another, a woman named Tasha, spoke up. I'm a teacher. Heard your daughter's struggling with math. I tutor kids. Pro bono. Monica was overwhelmed. How do you all know? Mike smiled. We're a network, Monica. You help one of us, you help all of us. And we got people who owe us favors. Over the next few days, her world transformed. 2 of the bikers went to Home Depot and came back with new shingles and siding. Her roof was fixed by sunset. Another crew replaced the old rusted heater with a new energy-efficient unit. The broken washer and dryer replaced. Groceries filled the kitchen. Caleb got a brand new inhaler and a spare one for emergencies. Brianna received books, school supplies, and a brand new Chromebook for remote tutoring. Monica tried to protest. I didn't do anything that big. It was just $10. Mike shook his head. That $10 came with dignity. Respect. You didn't look down on me. That's worth more than you think. Later that week, after everything had settled, they held a barbecue in her yard. Music played, kids ran laughing between picnic tables, and the bikers, these unlikely angels, told stories and shared jokes like old friends. That night, Monica sat on the porch swing with Mike, watching the stars. Why me? She asked. Why go through all this trouble for someone you don't really know? He looked out across the yard, thoughtful. When I got back from my second tour in Iraq, I was homeless for a bit. Slept behind dumpsters, stole food from gas stations. People treated me like trash. Except for one woman. She gave me $20 and said, "Don't forget to help the next one." I never forgot. He turned to her. And you reminded me of her. The world's hard. But people like you. You give the rest of us hope. The next morning, before they all rode out, Mike handed Monica an envelope. Inside was a check for $15,000. Money collected by bikers from across the country. Enough to pay off her debts and give her kids a better start. From our family to yours, he said. Not charity. Just thanks. As the roar of engines faded into the distance, Monica stood on her porch, hand over her heart, eyes filled with tears. She looked at Caleb and Brianna, who were waving at the long line of bikes disappearing into the horizon. In a world that so often felt cold and unkind, a single moment of compassion had changed everything. $10. One decision. And it brought healing not just to her life, but to the hearts of dozens of people who just needed to be seen as human again. From that day on, Monica kept a small envelope taped behind the counter at the gas station, labeled Grace Fund, where she'd tuck a few dollars whenever she could. Because she knew, better than anyone, that kindness, no matter how small, doesn't just change one day. It can change a lifetime.